this government class, we're going to be working on Unit 2, page 10 out of the packet. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about Article 1 in the Constitution, which talks all about the legislative body. Congress is the legislative or lawmaking branch of the national government. This includes two houses that we've talked about before, the House of Representatives and the Senate. All laws made at the federal level. When you talk about like national laws, federal law, we're talking about laws made in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Now, to focus on the Senate, senators, when they're elected, there's no term limits. Like a president can only run for president twice, and then he can't run again. Senators can keep running as long as they can keep winning. But they have 6-year terms. They only have to run for a campaign for election every 6 years. And this gives elected members a lot more time to focus on policy and voting and writing laws and informing themselves about laws, taking the responsibility to learn about the effects of the decisions they make, because they don't have to focus on running a campaign. Because remember, an election campaign, it can take like a whole year. Like you're talking to people, raising money. So that's a huge distraction. So out of those 6 years, 2 of those years, as much as 2 of those years might be their attention is focused between doing their jobs and trying to get elected again. But that gives them a lot of time to not worry so much about the next election and focus on what's the best way to do the job. Hopefully. I mean, there's always bad people that get in there too, but it gives them more opportunity because they don't have to worry about the spotlight focused on them so much because it's election year. And then the number very rarely changes. It is always 2 senators per state. So right now, America has 50 states, so we it's 50 states, so it has 100 senators, 2 from each state. Doesn't matter how few people live in the state, doesn't matter how many live in the state, it's 2 per state. The only reason that's changed in the past is when we had less states, we add a state, so 2 more senators, because 2 per state. If we had a 51st state, that state would get 2 states, or 2 senators, and we would have 102 senators, so 2 per state. Very simple. House of Representatives. This is crazy town. House of Representatives is where a lot of crazy stuff has happened in the past because they get 2-year terms. You get elected and 2 years later you're running an election again. That means while you're in office as in the House of Representatives, you are pretty much always running for office. It is every year is a campaign year. You are constantly trying to raise money, put out TV ads. You're always thinking like, okay, everything I do, people aren't going to forget it by next year. So I got to think about, like, will this decision get me elected? So people get really intense. Because the spotlight of TV, radio, the media, news, it's always on you all the time. 100% of the time. So they get a little more crazy because they know they're always on, and that kind of does something to people. The Founding Fathers originally meant that the reason why they said 2-year terms is they wanted us away for common people. Us. Not the wealthy elite. They wanted us, the little people, to have a chance to get into government for short periods of time and then go home. They didn't expect people to make careers out of being a member of the House of Representatives. It's just a way so we could get in, get a taste for a couple of years, and then get out before we muck anything up for the rich people. True story. But that just didn't happen. The wealthy people ended up, just like it's mostly wealthy people in the Senate, it's mostly wealthy people in the Representatives because they have so much money, they can continually outdo anybody that's poor. So or even middle class. So it's generally still wealthy people, and there's career politicians. They get elected every 2 years, and you have people that have been in the House of Representatives for 30, 40, 50 years even. I think the record's somewhere over 60 years. That's 30 elections that guy won, right? Well, that's the way it works. But he did have to win those elections. So in the middle there, you got a picture there of a guy looking like he's beating someone else down. Brooks and Sumner, that's the names of those 2 guys. That happened in Congress in the government building, in the House of Representatives, the actually place where they gather and they raise their hand, say, yes, I vote, yes or no. That happened right there because they were debating. They have debates before they vote. And these two guys got so worked up over slavery laws and state laws that one of them beat another guy so badly right there on the floor, the guy was in rehab for the rest of his life. I mean, he was severely, permanently spinal injuries. Now that doesn't happen. Things like that are kind of rare, but still, crazy stuff like that doesn't happen in the Senate. It happens a lot in the House of Representatives. So House of Representatives, they tend to be more extreme, more outlandish, more over the top in the things that they say, because they're always thinking about, I gotta make people are excited about me. I gotta keep that excitement going because they're gonna vote for me next year. They're gonna vote for me next year. The number changes every 10 years because every 10 years America has a census that happens, which is basically counting up how many people live in our country, in each state, in each portion of the state. Each state's divided up into districts, and because the number of representatives is calculated based on how many people live in any one area of the country. So if you get close to this map right here, you might notice that California has like 55 representatives, whereas Idaho only has 4. Well, that's because California's got a lot more people. The number of representatives is based on population, so California has a lot more representatives than Idaho because we have more people than Idaho, a lot more people. But it's not always the same amount of people at all times. And people move even within the state because it's broken up into supposedly equally divided districts. So every 10 years we recount to make sure those numbers are still true, or if changes need to happen. Maybe one state, maybe Idaho, gets more people in the next 10 years, so maybe they get more representatives. Or maybe California, people start moving out, and maybe so 10 years from now we recount. Maybe there's less people, so that means California might get less votes. So senators, if there's 50 states, there's always 100 senators. Right now there's over 400 representatives, and that number can change every 10 years based on changes in population, people moving in the country, out of the country, state to state. So what are the responsibilities of lawmaking? Well, one is they have to balance local versus national needs, because they have, if you're a senator from California, you are supposed to represent California's interests. But the things you do, decisions you make, aren't just going to affect California. They're going to affect your entire country, which, as an American citizen and as a citizen of California, sometimes those needs conflict. Like if California votes on medical marijuana is okay, but the federal government says no because we got problems in other states, well, what do? I mean, that's a tough balance to make. Do you sacrifice other people for your home state, or do you try to act in the interest of the whole nation? That's not always easy to do. Then there's political parties. If you're a Democrat and you got elected, that means your party, or same thing with Republicans or any other party, probably put a lot of money into getting you elected. Well, that means you kind of have a little bit of responsibility to pay them back a little bit by representing their interests. And then finally, interest groups. So let's say if you're a Democrat, Republican, your party puts some money into your campaign to help you get elected. Well, there's interest groups like People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, National Rifle Association, environmental groups that maybe also put money into your campaign to help you get elected, because they believe if I help you get elected, you'll help my issues. And the issues of all these different things, people that supported you, local voters, political parties, interest groups, they don't all always come together in one agreement. So you have a responsibility of trying to address the needs of everyone that supported you at the best of your ability, and make hard decisions about what to do that's going to help the most amount of people. If you have a situation where the different people that helped get you elected don't all agree. In class, next day, assuming you're watching this video on schedule, next class is test day, so make sure you also complete Unit 1 review using past notes and assignments, and complete Unit 2. Get you started on Unit 2, pages 2 through 7, using the textbook. One you've already started. And I'll see you in class.